Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome to part 2 of this series looking at my Big Finish collection. So right off the bat, if you haven't seen part 1 just yet, I highly recommend you go and check that out. There we covered all the releases in the monthly range of Doctor Who Adventures, all 275 of them, so you can check that out. But now we must continue further down the shelf and move on to a new one. I'm going to take you through the mainline series of the different Doctors and also various spin-off box sets. So special releases as well, so we're going to kick things off actually with the Excellis trilogy. This was released in 2002, and all of them star Anthony Head across the series. So there's Excellis Dawns with the 5th Doctor, there's Excellis Rising with the 6th, and Excellis Decays with the 7th there. Then in the numbered specials, you have Real Time, which was also done as a BBC webcast back in the day. So there's an audio version of that. You have also Sharda, a remake with the 8th Doctor instead. You have Her Final Flight, Cryptobiosis, Return of the Daleks, Return to the Web Planet, Return of the Crotons, An Earthly Child, The 4 Doctors, The 5 Companions, Night of the Stormcrow, Trial of the Valeyard, which is actually a really cool story delving into the Valeyard more as a character, so highly recommend that one there. We also have the Maltese Penguin, which contains Frobisher, who's a really great character, big recommend there. And we have the toy, which I got free by subscribing to the Complete History series of books, although I think you can get it somehow, some way nowadays other than that. Then moving on to the Doctor's Adventures, so kicking off with the first, we have David Bradley as the First Doctor in the First Doctor Adventures Volume 1. We also then have Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, which is actually my favourite. The stories in here are great. We have Return to Skaro and Last of the Romanovs. Excellent stories. And just to mention as well, these casts are the Adventure in Space and Time cast, and they've done a phenomenal job this last decade. We have Volume 5 as well here with that same cast, another stellar box set there. Then we have Stephen Noonan as the First Doctor. So we have The Outlaws, that was the first box set there. And then the more recent one is The Demon Song. You can tell it's recent because it's got that new 60th anniversary logo. The Second Doctor Adventures only has one box set release, which is Beyond War Games, which again is a very interesting set conceptually. I believe a second release is following sometime in 2023. The Third Doctor Adventures, one of my all-time favourite ranges. The Third Doctor's era on TV is a proper comfort for me, and these are just the same. So you have Volume 1 here, Volume 2. Bear in mind all these star Tim Treloar as the Third Doctor, and he does a phenomenal job. Volume 3, Volume 4... Volume 5, Primord's a great story, by the way. Volume 6, Volume 7, which the first story, the Unzal Incursion, is a proper, like, Season 7 throwback, and I just love it. Really recommend that one. And Volume 8 as well. Then they do continue. They drop the main numbering, but we have the Annihilators, which was a phenomenal 7-part story. Again, sort of throwing it back to that Season 7 vibe. You have the Second Doctor in it as well with Jamie. It's brilliant. Lovely, lovely story there. And we had Kaleidoscope as well, which again is a really cool 6-part adventure there, Season 11 vibes. But the Third Doctor Adventures just never really misses for me. So if they can keep the quality of this up, I'm all for what they've got next. On what we got next, we had The Return of Jo Jones, which, as I'm recording this video, is currently in transit to me on CD, but that was a fun box set as well. Okay, so Season 1 of the Fourth Doctor Adventures, we've got Destination Nerva, The Renaissance Man, The Wrath of the Insini, Energy of the Daleks, Trial of the White Worm, and the Oscidian or Osidon Adventure. I can't remember. But yeah, that's a 2-part finale there. So 6 stories in Season 1. Season 2 is with the 4th Doctor and the first Romana, Mary Tam, before she passed away, bless her. So we have the Antimatter, The Sands of Life, which is a Part 1 of a 2. Part 2 is War Against the Larn. Then we have The Justice of Jalxer, Phantoms of the Deep, and then another 2-parter, we have the Dalek Contract and the Final Phase. Season 3 is back to the 4th Doctor and Leela, and we start with the King of Sontar, White Ghosts, the Crooked Man, the Evil One, Last of the Colophon, Destroy the Infinite, the Abandoned, and Zygon Hunt. Season 4 is another 4th Doctor and Leela adventure with K9, of course. We have the Exilons, the Darkness of Glass, Requiem for the Rocketmen, that's Part 1 of a 2-part story. Part 2 is Deathmatch, Suburban Hell, The Cloisters of Terror, and then another 2-part finale, The Fate of Krelos, and Return to Telos. Season 5 sees the 4th Doctor with the second Romana, as played by Lalla Ward, and K9 as well. We have Wave of Destruction, really cool opener, The Labyrinth of Buddha Castle, a 2-part story, so we have the Paradox Planet, and then Legacy of Death, Gallery of Ghouls, The Trouble with Drax, and then the 2-part finale, The Pursuit of History, and Casualties of Time. Season 6 is more like Season 18 4th Doctor, so we have the 4th Doctor, the 2nd Romana, and K9 as well. So we have the Beast of Kravanos, the Eternal Battle, the Silent Scream, Deathras, the Haunting of Malkin Place, Subterranea, the Mavellan Grave, and the 2-part finale is the Skin of the Sleek, and the Thief Who Stole Time. Season 7 now, you can see they adopt a more box set style format as opposed to individual, CD releases. And then Volume 2 of that box set. Now, Season 8 and 9 of the 4th Doctor Adventures, I sadly don't have. I just haven't got around to grabbing them yet. Since they're still in print on CD from Big Finish to try and support them, I like to get them from the site. I'll probably wait till there's some sort of a sale on, so hopefully that'll happen soon. I do, however, have Season 10 here, which contains the World Traders, the Day of the Comet, and then the Tribulations of Thaddeus Nook, and the Primeval Design. Season 11, that was split into 2 sets as well, the first of them, solo, and then the 9. Season 12, so again, the box set for this, or at least the first part of it, is on the way. That it was released in March 2023. Then we have the Philip Hinchcliffe Presents series, so this was stories penned by the former producer of the show itself. The next one is titled The Genesis Chamber, followed by The Helm of Ore, and then most recently The God of Phantoms. Then to round off on the 4th Doctor, we have the comic strip adaptations, Volume 1. So I believe these were taken from the early editions of Doctor Who magazine, then Doctor Who Weekly, of course, containing Beat the Meep, everyone's favourite. It says Volume 1. I do wonder if they'll ever make a Volume 2. This was released quite a few years ago now, so we'll have to wait and see. So with the 5th Doctor, we have the rather interestingly titled The 5th Doctor box set, containing a Season 19 TARDIS team even, with Tegan, Nyssa and Adric. Then we have 40 to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the 5th Doctor. This sort of strand was great. The first box set is here. The second box set, 42, this was undeniably my favourite Big Finish release of 2022. It's one story, The Auton Infinity, and I can't sum it up here. You need to get this box set. Probably get 40, the first one as well, but this story was just incredible, so massive props to the team for that one. Then we have The Lost Resort and Other Stories, which sort of rounds off the character of Mark. There are a few monthly range adventures I'd probably advise listening to just to get up to speed with Mark. I found I enjoyed it a lot more that way, but a really strong set nonetheless. Cracking on, we have Wicked Sisters, which has the 5th Doctor and Leela. Haven't checked this one out yet, haven't listened to it, so I'm curious to see how it is. There's some Tarans there as well. So with the 6th Doctor, we've got with these 2 releases, Voyage to Venus and Voyage to the New World, which sees him with Jago and Lightfoot, the ever faithful stalwarts there. Then we have the 6th Doctor and Perry, Volume 1. I do wonder if they'll ever do a Volume 2 to that. We have some more of the more recent releases, so we have Waterworlds with the 6th Doctor Mel and new companion Hebe. That was followed by Purity Undreamed, and the next release is coming out really soon, I believe. We also have the 11 featuring the great character played by Mark Bonnar. That is the 6th Doctor, and Constance, I think, go against him here. Then we have more Unbound stuff. So this is... I do put this with the 6th Doctor because it mainly concerns him, but you could put this with... I mean, it is technically part of the Unbound series. Maybe I'll have a rearrange, I don't know. But this is... So this is basically Doctor Who's What If, Doctor Who in Alternate Universe. So what if the 6th Doctor was the War Doctor? This is box set 1, Genesis, and then box set 2, Destiny, which has a really intriguing conclusion. Highly recommend listening to that. The 7th Doctor box set-wise, we have Silver and Ice, and we also have Sullivan and Cross AWOL. We also have the novel adaptations. So these were adaptations of some of the various Virgin adventures that came out during the 90s. So we have Love and War, which introduced Bernice Summerfield. We have The Highest Science, The Romance of Crime, The English Way of Death, The Well-Mannered War, Damaged Goods, which was written by Russell T Davies. Yes, that one. Theatre of War, All-Consuming Fire, Nightshade, and we round off with Original Sin and Cold Fusion. So 11 releases there. Will they ever adapt more novels? I mean, imagine an adaptation of Lungbarrow in audio form. Goodness me, the fandom would be alight. We also have the 7th Doctor New Adventures. I believe these characters feature in some of those Virgin New Adventures, but again, I'm still yet to sort of delve into that properly. Moving on then to the 8th Doctor, we have Charlotte Pollard, the Further Adventuress, so featuring the fan favourite companion with the 8th Doctor, obviously back from those early monthly range days. Then we move on to the series with Sheridan Smith as Lucy Miller. So these were released as standalone CDs. It started in 2007, and the first series, I believe, or maybe more of them, were played on BBC Radio 7 when that was a thing. So you have Blood of the Daleks Part 1 and Part 2, respectively. We have Horror of Glamrock, Immortal Beloved, Phobos, No More Lies, Human Resources Part 1, and Human Resources Part 2, which rounds off Series 1. In between Series 1 and 2, at least chronologically, is this, I believe, the further adventures of Lucy Miller, where Sheridan came back to do a few more stories with the 8th Doctor. Haven't got around to delving into that yet. Really looking forward to it. Okay, then moving on to Series 2 from 2008 with this team, we have Dead London, Max Warp, Brave New Town, The Skull of Sobek, Grand Theft Cosmos, The Zygon Who Fell to Earth, and then the 2-part finale is Sisters of the Flame and Vengeance of Morbius. That's right. Series 3 kicks off with Orbis, Hothouse, The Beast of Orlok, Wirren Dawn, The Scapegoat, The Cannibalists, and the 2-part finale is The 8 Truths and World Wide Web. Then Series 4, the conclusion to all of this, if you like. We have Death in Blackpool, Situation Vacant, Nevermore, The Book of Kells, Deimos, which is part 1 of a 2-part story, The Resurrection of Mars, Relative Dimensions, a beautiful sort of Christmas special, if you could call it that, Prisoner of the Sun, and then the 2-part finale, Lucy Miller, and To the Death. Following that then, the 8th Doctor went into box set mode, a big quadrilogy of concepts, if you like. So we start with Dark Eyes. This series, by the way, big recommend. Excellent set. Dark Eyes 2, Dark Eyes 3, and Series 4. And then, after those 4 box sets, so you had 16 individual stories there, if you like. And then we have Doom Coalition, which is the second story arc, but there's 4 more box sets. Doom Coalition 2, Doom Coalition 3, and Doom Coalition 4. Then you have Ravenous, which Ravenous 1, Ravenous 2, Ravenous 3, and Ravenous 4. This was concluded, this arc style, with Stranded, which takes place in the present day. So Stranded 1, Stranded 2, Stranded 3, and Stranded 4, which is probably my favourite of the Stranded series. And then recently, from last year, 2022, 8th Doctor Adventures-wise, we've had What Lies Inside as a box set, which was closely followed by Connections. So we've still got the TARDIS team of the 8th Doctor, Liv and Helen, which are a great combination. That's why they've probably stuck around for so long. And I can't wait to see what more 8th Doctor adventures we get later this year. We also have the Time War series, the 8th Doctor venturing into the Time War. So before he became the War Doctor, if you like. So Time War 1, Time War 2, Time War 3, and the Time War 4. Volume 5 is titled Cass, named after that character in Night of the Doctor, and a 6th release in the Time War series is supposedly on its way in the near future. And then before we cross into New Who Doctors, we have this, Classic Doctors New Monsters Volume 1. That's exactly what it says on the tin, as you can see. That was also followed by Classic Doctors New Monsters Volume 2, and we got a release in 2022, a 3rd release in this series called The Stuff of Nightmares, and a 4th one is going to be due at some point in the near future too. Then we have the War Doctor, so originally played by John Hurt. But if we're going chronological, we've got to start with the War Doctor Begins, so the early days of this incarnation. And it's played brilliantly by the wonderful Jonathan Carley. It absolutely captures the essence of this character, so again, go and check his work out. So you have the first set, which is Forged in Fire. Then you have Warbringer, Battlegrounds, and He Who Fights with Monsters, which is an excellent conclusion to that first series. More on the way. Then you have the War Doctor, as played by John Hurt when he was still alive. He gave us 4 box sets. So we have Only the Monstrous, Infernal Devices, Agents of Chaos, and Casualties of War. And I've got to say, these box sets are tremendous. So if you ever get the chance, please go and listen to these 4 specifically. If you like the Time War concept, if you enjoyed the War Doctor, you'll like these sets. Then we go fully into New Who. We have the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, who at one point, the idea of him coming back to Doctor Who at all, I think would have, I think fans had given up. But this was incredible when it was announced. So we have the first series, which started in 2021. We have Ravagers, Respond to All Calls, Lost Warriors, and Old Friends, which sees 9 team up with the Brigadier to fight the Cybermen. Then Series 2, we have Back to Earth, Into the Stars, Hidden Depths, and we finish with Shades of Fear. And look at that in the corner. That's me. Yes, this is the box set where I have a story featuring with the 9th Doctor, which is still pretty surreal. And there is a Series 3 of this range on the way. Moving on to some 10th Doctor stuff. So 10th Doctor chronological stuff is a bit all over the place. So we have the 10th Doctor and River Song. Then we have the Out of Time subseries. So Out of Time 1 is the 10th and 4th Doctor. Out of Time 2 is the 10th and 5th Doctor. And Out of Time 3 is the 10th and 6th Doctor. Then we have Dalek Universe. This is the Dalek Protocol. Why this is here and not with the 4th Doctor stuff is this is mainly a 10th Doctor series, but this was sort of like a prelude to everything, so that's why it's here. Then we have Dalek Universe 1, Dalek Universe 2, and Dalek Universe 3. Really cool little sub-series this was, so yeah, big recommend to that. Then you have 10th Doctor Classic Companions, which again sees him meet Leela, Nyssa, and Ace, and these are lovely stories. Again, this was a proper comfort food box set for me, so really loved that. Then you have the Chronicles range, which I've put here, and I've done this because in terms of New Who Doctors, Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, and Jodie Whittaker, at the time of recording, have not yet done any big finish, so then you have this Chronicles range where other actors are filling in for them. So you have the 9th Doctor Chronicles there, then you have the 10th Doctor Chronicles, and there's a second one of these coming out sometime soon. You have the 11th Doctor Chronicles there with Jacob Dudman, there's Volume 2. We also have Geronimo, which basically is Volume 3 of the Companion Chronicles. Now we have with the 11th Doctor with a new companion, Valerie. And we have Volume 4, which continues that story, which is called All of Time and Space. And I believe there's 2 more box sets coming, hopefully featuring this duo, because they're a really fun TARDIS team. You have the 12th Doctor Chronicles as well, and there was a Volume 2, which is called Time Jacked. Then we have the War Master. This is definitely a contender for the best range Big Finish has ever done. Derek Jacobi is incredible, and the chance for him to flesh out a character he only played as the Master, not as Professor Yana, but as the Master for, a few minutes, has been so well expanded, and I've loved delving into this character and what he got up to during the Time War. So you have Volume 1, which is Only the Good. Volume 2, The Master of Callus. Volume 3, Rage of the Time Lords. Volume 4, Anti-Genesis. Volume 5, Hearts of Darkness, Volume 6, Killing Time, Volume 7, Self-Defense, and Volume 8, Escape from Reality. Now, all of these box sets are brilliant and are well worth a listen. There are more coming. There's a few more coming, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. Then we have the Gallifrey series. This is something I've very recently been able to acquire on CD, so I haven't listened to much of it just yet. So we have Series 1 of Gallifrey, we have Weapon of Choice, Square One, The Inquiry, and A Blind Eye. Series 2 is Lies, Spirit, Pandora, Insurgency, and Imperadrix. Series 3 is Fractures, Warfare, Appropriation, Mind Bomb, and Panacea. Then they moved on to a box set format, so Gallifrey Series 4, Series 5, and Series 6. This is essentially Series 7 in a standard CD case. This is Intervention Earth. The 8th release, which is Enemy Lines, at the time of recording this, it is on its way to me. It was recently in a Big Finish sale, so it won't be long, and I will have that to add to the collection. Then you get the Gallifrey Time War stuff, so this is Gallifrey Time War Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4. Then the new strand of Gallifrey is this, Gallifrey War Room. So this is Volume 1, which is Allegiance, and the other 3 box sets are coming over the next year and a bit. And this was, again, a great sort of continuation of like Time War related stuff, the Gallifrey world, if you like. So yeah, big recommend to this. And a sort of side to the Time War is Susan's War, featuring Carol Ann Ford herself. And this is a really underrated box set, I think. I think a lot of you are sleeping on this, so you definitely should listen to Susan's War. Then you have the TV movie Masters, played by Eric Roberts. This is Master, and it's great. These are just a lot of fun. These are a bit goofy, but by God, they're enjoyable. We have Volume 2 of this as well, Nemesis Express, and I really do hope that there's more. Then we have Missy, of course, as played by Michelle Gomez. We have Series 1 of Missy, Series 2, and Series 3, which is titled Missy and the Monk, as played by Rufus Hound. Then we have Rose Tyler, of course, the famed companion with the Dimension Cannon. So this is the sort of many attempts Rose took to try and shoot herself back into our universe out of the parallel one she was stuck in. Volume 2 came out not too long ago. That's titled Other Worlds. And I believe there's a 3rd volume coming soon, which is called Trapped. Then you have Captain Jack with his series. You have The Lives of Captain Jack. This is Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. Then we have everyone's favourite journalist, Sarah Jane Smith, in her own series. This was quite early in Big Finish's history, really, but we have Series 1, which starts with Comeback, The Teo Connection, Test of Nerve, Ghost Town, and Mirror Signal Maneuver. Then we have Series 2, which kicks off with Buried Secrets, Snowblind, Fatal Consequences, and Dreamland. And it's such a shame that they didn't get to record more with Elizabeth Sladen before she passed, whether, you know, that be in her own series, or Sarah Jane Adventure stuff, or even with various Doctors. Then we have Rory Williams in the Lone Centurion. I was skeptical on this because the 11th Doctor's era, not one I click with the most, but these box sets are phenomenal. This is Volume 1 and then Volume 2, Camelot. And honestly, if they can, I want them to do more Rory stuff because these box sets are really genuinely very good. Then you have the Diary of River Song. River Song's been getting around on Big Finish. I mean, not only has she popped up in various ranges, but her own series, there's so many releases. So this is Series 1 here, then Series 2, Series 3, Series 4, Series 5, Series 6, Series 7, Series 8. Then they drop the main numbering, but on the spines it still is. So this is Series 9, which is called New Recruits. This is basically River Song dropped into Doctor Who Season 7, and it is brilliant. So big recommend to that. Volume 10, which is called Two Rivers and a Firewall, and Volume 11, which is Friend of the Family. And I can't remember if a Volume 12 has been announced or is coming out, but I'm sure they will, because she's one of the most popular Doctor Who characters of the last 15 years. Then we have Unit. This is the original Unit series. This little release came out in, I think it was around 2005, so you have Time Heals, Snakehead, The Longest Night, and The Wasting. Then you have Unit Dominion, which is a really cracking story with obviously Unit, and then you have the 7th Doctor in there with his companion Rain. Klein's in this, there's Alex McQueen's Master. It's just a really good story, but if you don't want the CD, I do actually believe you can go on Spotify, and this is available for you to listen for free. Then with the new Unit, if you like, with like Kate Stewart, Osgood, etc. So this is Volume 1, Extinction, Volume 2, Shutdown, Volume 3, Silenced, Volume 4, Assembled, Volume 5, Encounters, Volume 6, Cyber Reality, Volume 7, Revisitations, and Volume 8, Incursions. Then continuing that in a new sort of series, you have Unit Nemesis. Volume 1 is Between Two Worlds, Volume 2 is Agents of the Vulprine, Volume 3 is Objective Earth, and Volume 4 will be coming out really soon. You have Unit Brave New World, which is set in the 90s with Brigadier Bambera. And this has been a sort of dark horse in a good way box set. I've loved this. So you have Volume 1, which is Seabird 1, and Volume 2, The Visitants. And I don't think there's any more planned, but I really want them to do more. It's a cracking little series. Moving on to Class, the spin-off from 2016. So you have Class Volume 1, Class Volume 2, Class Volume 3, and Class Volume 4. Then we had this at the start of the year, Class, Secret Diary of a Rhodium Prince, a very special release. There was only 1,000 of these made on CD, so I've got one of them. So at the time of this, there might not be any CDs left, but again, a really fun little story here. So yes, definitely recommend if you're a fan of Class. Then we have The Year of Martha Jones, starring Freema Agyeman herself. Again, really nice sort of look into that year of when Martha was on the run trying to spread the word of the Doctor, and you know, maybe they couldn't do any more of this particular idea, but I'd love to see Freema return either with a Doctor or in her own series, like as part of Unit or something like that. Then we have The New Adventures of Bernice Summerfield. So Benny's a character I love. A lot of the original adventures I didn't necessarily click with, but the New Adventures, this box set, Volume 1, I really enjoyed. So I have actually ordered Volume 2 and 4 in a CD sale that happened on Big Finish. As for the others, I'll have to get them as and when. But yeah, really enjoy this stuff. We have Doctor Who Peladon set on that very world. And again, if you're into like the Curse of Peladon, if that's one of your favourites, then you can definitely check this out. Donna Noble, Kidnapped. That's right, Catherine Tate in her own little box set. Tales from New Earth. Jenny the Doctor's Daughter, and she got a Volume 2 called Still Running. Lady Christina from Planet of the Dead, this is Series 1, and Lady Christina Series 2. You have The Churchill Years, starring Ian McNeice as Churchill himself. That got a Volume 2 release as well. And you have The Paternoster Gang, featuring Strax, Jenny, and Madame Vastra. So this is the Heritage series, so you have Heritage 1, Heritage 2, Heritage 3, and Heritage 4. Then you have the 8th of March. This was released to celebrate International Women's Day on the 8th of March, would you believe? So this was the first box set. That got a second box set called Protectors of Time. And then this year, 2023, it got a third release called Strange Chemistry. So that, folks, is the rest of the first shelf and the second shelf. That is pretty much all of the Doctor Who either spin-off box sets or releases that I have, and also the main adventure lines for the various Doctors. As I said, there's some stuff you didn't see there, like the 10th Doctor stuff's part of my limited edition collection, which you'll see a bit later on. But yeah, most of everything, I'm still got some gaps, you know, like the Countermeasures series. I'd love to get those box sets at some point. They're not in print on CD anymore with Big Finish, but I'd love to get them at some point. There's others I need to try and dip my toes into, like Jago and Lightfoot and things like that. But yeah, it's been a blast collecting all of this, and the stuff I've listened to so far, I've really enjoyed. So join me again, part 3 will be coming sometime soon, looking at the last little shelf we have, and the limited edition things as well. But if you enjoyed this in the meantime, please leave a like on the video, let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, we'd love to have you aboard. In the meantime, I've been Adam Martin from AMTV Who, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time for another trip in the TARDIS.